Ah, yes. It's that time again. It's time for another episode of
Need Knowledge, No Time.
Or NKNT. And today we have a few interesting subjects. But before we go into that, Becky decided to... Nah, I won't even go into it. Anyway. What we're talking about today, first things first, just a little break the ice segment. Bad printers. I'll give you the headline, bad printers.
Right.
Then we move on to what I thought would be the headline, but how Fast and the Furious has changed maybe your life, maybe my life, or maybe it's changed the world. The Fast and the Furious. And finally, Matrix-style learning. Do you remember? This may show our age. Fast and the Furious, printers, and the Matrix.
Matrix-style learning, I love the sound of.
Yeah, when he rolls his head back in, rolls his eyes back into his head, and he's like...
I know jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
So that's what we're going to talk about today with the help of AI. But before we get into that, we did this once before, and I thought that was quite fun.
Mm-hmm.
We done some bite-sized facts before we ran the intro.
Okay, all right.
So let me hit you with some bite-sized facts that I think are quite interesting. Did you know octopus have 3 hearts?
Really?
And 2 stop when they swim.
Why do they stop?
Oh, these are bite-sized. These are bite-sized.
Sorry, I need to stop asking questions to your bite-sized facts.
The bite-sized
That's really
facts,
interesting.
no questions.
Okay,
It is
just the
super
facts.
interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
AI gave me a little dad joke that said, exercise literally breaks octopus's hearts.
That doesn't even qualify as a dad joke.
No, it's not great with humor, but it'll get there. Okay, number 2. Honey. I know lots of people have asked this, not to me personally, just in their lives.
In general, and have not had the answer, but you're about to give us the answer.
Honey never spoils.
Ah.
Archaeologists have found 3,000-year-old Egyptian honey still edible.
I mean, there's a question that immediately springs to mind, which is, did they eat it?
Oh, that I want to know that actually. Yes.
That's the first question.
Well, we're going to come back to that in the next episode.
Because, I mean, to really say something is edible, I think...
You've got to eat it.
You have to eat it. And yet that's a big call to try 3,000-year-old honey. Even from the perspective of this thing is so precious, we don't want to use it or damage it or contaminate it. But I like that fact.
Yeah, we'll come back
Now
to
I think
this.
about it, have
It's
you
super
ever
interesting.
thrown out honey? Never. You always use up
It
honey.
gets candied, which is frustrating. But I'm not sure if that's like they've added sugar and that's why it gets candied. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's interesting. The next one. Sloths can hold their breath longer, and this is a good one because it's Becky's favorite animal. Sloths can hold their breath longer than a dolphin. Up to 40 minutes long.
No, I don't believe that.
Ask. How?
How? Well, I mean, but I know how.
Well,
they
learn it now. Their metabolism is super slow, so slow that they can hold their breath for so long.
Wow, that's amazing. I wonder why they would need to hold their breath for that long. That was a rhetorical question. That wasn't a direct question.
Like
that was rhetorical.
When they're crossing a road and like their heart stops and they're like, I hope a car doesn't come.
Or it's the freeway because it's almost 40 minutes.
Yeah. True. Okay. So there are our bite-sized facts. Roll the intro.
In a world where time and knowledge is everything, join those who have the edge. A podcast where both come together to give you everything you need, you lazy parasite. Be the guy. Only with Need Knowledge, No Time. A podcast that will limitless your flippin' brain.
Are you ready? Segment number 1.
Okay.
Bad printers.
Bad printers.
Go ahead.
Bad printers. I don't know what Jesse's about to say, but I would like to add bad and expensive printers. But now you tell us what you want to say.
Well, the printer itself is not expensive usually, and I'll explain that in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I have needed to use a printer. I don't use a printer often,
Mm-hmm.
but I need a printer. So every time we move country, we've done that several times now. We need to buy a new printer, and then I use it for like maximum 100 pieces of paper.
Mm-hmm. That's really maximum.
Yeah, and then there's always problems, always. So I was like, what is up with these bad printers? We can land a man on the moon. We can almost have artificial intelligence as smart as humans.
What do you mean almost? We are there.
You're there?
We're there.
You're personally there? So I asked AI, why is it so hard to build a good printer?
Just before you say that, like, you said you've used it max like 100 pages, and then it's because we move that you stop using it. But so what is the bad part of the printer?
No, then we move, and then we don't take it with us, so we
Uh-huh.
buy a new printer.
Okay.
The bad part is like there's always a problem with it. You put in A4 pieces of paper and it
Yeah.
says the paper that you've put in is not size A4.
Okay.
Can you please fix this?
Yeah.
So many problems.
Okay.
Always.
Okay.
So yeah, would you like to know the answer?
Yeah.
And I disrespect my printer so much because of it. It's on the ground back there. That's where it deserves to be. So, they are built to break. Planned obsolescence. Don't think it's like the mobile phones. It's a bit different to that. So most consumer printers are sold at a loss or break even. I didn't realize this, but I did think that we're getting a piece of tech like this big for $80. That is cheap. It's cheap, right? Manufacturers make money from ink or toner sales, not the device itself.
Yes.
As a result, durability and longevity aren't prioritized. The business model relies on frequent replacement.
Exactly.
Frequent replacement of the ink. I find those two words really hard to say together.
Frequent replacement.
Frequent replacement. Anyway, so yeah, the ink. And I had to buy ink again. When you buy a printer, they give you ink, but it's like 3% full.
Yeah, they must be like miniature. The cartridge itself is a normal size, but the amount of ink inside of it is a miniature amount, minuscule amount.
Yeah, for sure. So one capsule cartridge of black ink, only black, $50. I was pretty shocked by that. But then, yeah, when you take into consideration the price of the printer, it all makes sense. Number 2, proprietary ink systems and DRM.
Yeah.
Printer companies use chips and software to prevent third-party ink or toner. This leads to compatibility errors.
Yes.
False empty cartridge warnings. And this is interesting, firmware updates that disable previously working cartridges. So you could have a perfectly good cartridge. They have a firmware update and then it's no longer compatible.
The world is stacked against us. Because, just a reminder of our last podcast, we spoke about cookies and
I thought you talking about literal cookies.
No, we talk about when we're browsing online to make purchases, how all the different ways it's stacked against us so that we pay more. And now this is something else stacked against us so that we have to buy more ink or toner before it's actually empty. This world is stacked against us.
But this is where you come for happy advice.
Well, the thing is that you can be happier when you know what you're dealing with because you're better equipped to accept the challenges.
Okay, 2 more quick. Poor software and driver support. Yeah, okay. They don't really put in much effort into the software. And then complex mechanical design. So printers have many small moving parts, prone to jamming or misalignment. Dust, humidity, and cheap paper can throw the whole mechanism off, especially inkjets. So there you go. Like, it's just something. There were a few facts there that I genuinely didn't know. Like, I did not know that printers sold at a loss or to break even. But I did find that they were cheap.
It makes sense though when what I was saying is like the ink is so expensive. Well, it makes sense because they're trying to make up the loss of selling something below or at cost price.
It's like they haven't updated them since the 2000s.
Yeah. But they're...
Speaking of the 2000s, I'm moving on now.
Okay.
That's enough of
That's
printers.
enough of printers.
It's enough of bad printers.
Mm-hmm.
The Fast and the Furious. Has it changed your life?
How many movies are there? 8?
No way.
More than 8?
I think like 12 or something. I haven't seen
okay,
them all.
you keep talking and let me check how many Fast and the Furious films there are.
Okay, so when I was young and the first Fast and the Furious came out, it blew my mind. I loved it. Cars were not so interesting to me, and then bam, I was into cars. I wanted, what did I want? I wanted a Skyline. My brother wanted a Supra, and everybody wanted these Hot Fours, really.
Yeah.
Or some people wanted the American Muscle.
Yeah.
Then move on to Tokyo Drift. And all of a sudden, I wanted a Nissan 350Z. And I just want to talk about Tokyo Drift for a moment because it is terrible acting. Like, terrible acting.
Yeah.
And then there's also actors who seem to me to be about 30 years old.
Yeah.
Playing high schoolers.
Yeah. I think he was. He was well above the age of a high schooler. Or someone who could normally pull off a high schooler.
But all of that together,
yeah.
And it's still, when I was young, one of my most rewatched movies.
Yeah. And even now, it continues to bring a smile to your face.
Yeah,
like, you're not watching
I still watch it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but I still watch it.
Let me tell you, Jess, just quickly to fill in a fact from ChatGPT, there are 11 main Fast and the Furious films, and then there's been one spin-off, The Hobbs and Shaw. So in total, it's 12.
Okay.
And the first one came out in 2001.
2001.
Which is when some of our friends were born.
The first one was arguably the best, I think. The first, second, and third. Today, people are envious of supercars. They're not just envious. This is what they aspire to. Like, aspirations have changed so much. The aspiration was a Skyline with neon lights underneath it. Now the aspiration is possibly a supercar, but possibly even to be a billionaire. Like, the aspirations have changed so much. And I was thinking, was there a correlation between the Fast and the Furious movies and the world and our aspirations?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there?
Well, there is and there isn't. It's like an chicken and egg scenario, right? So, number one, mainstreamed tuner car culture.
Wait, let me tell you. So Jesse has asked how the Fast and the Furious changed the world. Big question. All right.
Okay. So before 2001, these cars were niche car enthusiasts cars. The Honda Civic, the Supras, all of this stuff. After the movie, it was pop culture icons. Everybody wanted them. And then the film created aspirations for young fans to want to drive these cars. It influenced the aftermarket auto industry. People started to get NOS, Sparco, and Belside. They started to do up their cars. Yeah, we remember this, right?
Yeah.
Like, the kits got more and more elaborate.
Yeah.
And then, like, the audience evolved. It changed from street races, relatable dream cars. And then by the Fast and the Furious 5 and beyond, the franchise pivoted to heists, international espionage, and exotic cars.
So that you said from number 5, that is from 2011. So from 2011 onwards, that's when the pivot, the shift started.
Now, my chicken and egg theory scenario was like social media. What came first? The desire from Fast and the Furious and what it made popular, or was just everyone showing their flashy lives on social media, what changed what people wanted out of their life.
Yeah.
Okay. So the elite versus mass appeal, raising the bar. This is the part that all ties it together. Exclusivity drives status. If a product like the Skyline or Louis Vuitton bags signals elite status, it holds value. When everyone can get it, like mods, knockoffs, or lower costs, it loses its exclusive signal. And if you go on like I say like a lot. If you go on Temu, there is tons of aftermarket things for your car for so cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So of course this is not exclusive anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The elite then abandon it or raise the stakes to establish separation.
Uh-huh.
Okay, now, The Fast and the Furious as a mirror. Early films made realistic mods look cool. People could aspire to them.
Yeah.
As those cars became common and the look overplayed, the franchise moved up. Ferrari, Bugatti, and even stealth aircraft.
Yeah.
It's not just storytelling, it reflects a real psychological shift in what audiences crave.
Oh.
What this says about us: desire escalates.
Uh-huh.
We always want more.
Yeah.
The bar moves. Media like F, Fast and the Furious, doesn't just reflect culture, it reshapes it by setting new aspirational benchmarks. And then the culture of spectacle, social media, YouTube builds on this. Now, 1,000 horsepower builds are common online, so we dream of jet engines or Teslas. No, sorry, jet engines on Teslas or driving on the moon.
Mm. Yeah, I suppose I've never aspired and still don't aspire to have any particular type of car, but I would say the beginning Fast and the Furious films, I saw them as like, wow, these are cars that I see in my day-to-day life, but I never saw them like that souped up, which is like all the mod cons and the neo lights and even like the paintwork that was on all those cars. I saw Skyline, like Nissan Skylines and whatever they were, but not like that. But now the Fast and the Furious films, I don't see those cars in my lives.
Just to that, actually, one of my first cars happened to be one of the Fast and the Furious characters' cars on the movie.
Which one?
But it wasn't souped up. It was just a standard, and everyone made fun of me because it was a family-looking car.
Which one?
So I don't know his name. You know the
the car.
The car, Nissan Maxima.
Oh.
So it's the guy.
I remember when you had that car.
Yeah, the silver one.
Yeah.
So you know how there's the guy who likes the girl that Brian likes.
Okay.
This is Paul Walker in the first movie.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, her original boyfriend has a Maxima, a Nissan Maxima. Yeah.
Oh.
So fun fact.
Well, I wonder. ChatGPT is telling me that the next Fast, it's Fast X Part 2. It's supposed to come out this year sometime. It'll be interesting to contrast the ratings, like the box office results from, like, let's say the first portion of Fast and the Furious from 1 to 5 and then like 6 onwards.
Yeah.
Because it did become a thing, like, to get more and more ridiculous. And I suppose to get more ridiculous, they had to up the scales each time. You know, when you just said about putting a jet engine on a Tesla or something, like they had to get more and more ridiculous.
Yeah.
But will they ever shift back to something more original and more authentic?
They have to. They have to. Like with social media and things like this, we are making a comeback to, like, let's
being
go
more
to the
authentic.
original and more authentic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that they will come back to an original kind of Fast and the Furious, but make it a retro style, not modern day.
Yeah.
There's another thing I see: the Fast and the Furious starting to get more and more like the Marvel movies. You know how the Marvel movies are just ridiculous, but they are superheroes?
Yeah.
And then you see Toretto literally punching walls and having cement blast out.
Okay.
And yet his fist doesn't
it's undamaged.
No blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that I really saw that in Was it the introduction of The Rock into it when like Toretto and The Rock were fighting, and it was just they were both completely unharmed, yet it was incredibly aggressive with one another. Yeah.
I also think that people like The Rock, there's no facts behind this. This is just my opinion.
Yeah.
And I would like to know if there's any reality to it. But people like The Rock start to believe that in themselves are these characters and that there is a piece of superhero about them.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I am a massive fan of The Rock.
I think that The Rock was an awesome addition to Fast and the Furious. What is the other actor? So Hobbs and Shaw. Hobbs is The Rock, right?
Yeah. No.
Or is he Shaw? What I want to say is this new guy, the British guy who has always been in some
from
other...
the Transporter.
Yeah, I don't think he's been such a great addition because I like that The Rock is known for like...
ridiculousness.
Yeah, and that was his background before ever becoming a movie star, is that he portrayed like this over-the-top character. And it was cool, like he knew he was doing it and he loved doing that, and now he does that on the big screen. But this other guy, what's his name, Jess?
I don't know how we can't think of his name.
Oh, ChatGPT, because we need knowledge, but we don't have time.
All right, so we'll do that as we move on. Also, that now that you bring that up, Fast and the Furious is reminiscent of WWE or World Wrestling, whatever it's called.
Yes.
Because it is, it's ridiculous.
Okay, so it's Jason Statham.
That's
who we're
trying to... Statham.
Jason Statham.
Okay.
Yeah, tell us your next one. There was one more.
All right, so speaking of old movies, Matrix. The reason why I thought of this is because we've been struggling for the last 2 years now to learn a new language. Struggling. And it's hard.
Yeah.
Especially when you're from Australia. And I know a lot of Australians are thinking, I know 3-4 languages right now, but we're not one of them. So... yeah,
Let's just say the struggle is real to learn another language. Some people struggle more than others. We are the ones who struggle more than others.
So just in jest, I said to Becky, please, tonight, plug in the USB into my brain so that I can learn this language.
Yeah.
And then I thought, are people working on this? Surely people are working on this. And how far are we away from Matrix-style learning?
Yeah. And I think you're not saying like how far away are we from physically plugging in a USB to our body, but you're saying like how far are we from some kind of like subconscious learning, overnight learning where we're not aware of it, but it's happening in the background. Yeah. That's what you mean.
Yeah, just basically almost instantaneous learning.
Yeah.
However that may be.
Yeah.
So, are scientists working on instant learning like the Matrix?
Yes.
Yes and no. Researchers are exploring ways to speed up learning by tapping directly into the brain, but we're still very early in the game. The way I see it, like, I'm no brain scientist, neurologist. I don't know.
We see that.
I'm sure there's a lot of different scientists related to
so
brain
the neurologist is
putting
for
them together.
Our brain.
Yeah,
but or scientists.
But putting software and a brain together, I'm sure it's not a neurologist anymore. But I thought, like brains is just electrical impulses, connections, whatever. And that's what digital information is. Mm-hmm. So surely they can figure out a way to make the two talk together. Mm-hmm. Here's what's happening. Neuralink and others are developing brain-computer interfaces to someday allow data transfer directly to the brain. Someday. DARPA is testing ways to enhance skill learning, like languages or strategy, via electrical brain stimulation. This one's already happening, and it just helps in the learning process. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't give you instantaneous learning, but it stimulates the brain as you learn, and it helps.
That's interesting.
Scientists are experimenting with memory implants that could eventually help the brain store and recall information artificially. So I guess recalling things that otherwise you would have forgotten.
Yeah, because we spoke about this too, that our brain is storing all of the information that we hear and see. The problem is that we're not able to recall it. Like, how many times have you and I looked at a whole set of verbs and yet we forget it every single time? Like, it's and even sometimes you have that feeling, right? Like, you know that it's there and you can almost like feel it in the back of your brain, but you just can't get to it. So that would be super cool if we had a way of recalling what we've already learned.
Yeah, I guess it would almost be not instantaneous learning, but at least when you learn it,
Yeah.
it will be easier to reach out and grab it once it's there.
Yes, absolutely.
Techniques like TDCS and TMS use electrical or magnetic fields to boost natural learning speed. Some projects use sensory substitution, teaching your brain new ways to receive and interpret data, like tactile signals for complex tasks. They're using this for things like fighter pilots. I don't really understand how it works, but somehow like receive and interpret fields and things like that to learn faster.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's super cool. And this isn't so far fetched because at the moment you're talking about the brain, but one of my students, she has very poor eyesight, and each night she puts in a lens that reshapes the surface of her eye. So I've just chat GPT'd it, and it's called ortho K lenses or corneal reshaping lenses. So what she does is she puts it in before she goes to sleep, and she sleeps as normal. She can't feel it, so it's as if something doesn't exist, but it gently reshapes the cornea overnight. And it's you wear a rigid gas permeable contact lens while you sleep, so then in the morning you remove the lens and your vision is clear without the need of glasses or without the need of contact lenses. So it's not permanent. That's the one thing. It is temporary. It says you need to wear the lenses regularly to maintain your vision throughout the day. But who wouldn't do that? Every night, put in lenses. The next morning, you wake up, you've got perfect eyesight. If you're the right candidate, of course, because it does say who is not the right candidate. And then you've got perfect vision.
Yeah, we're in exciting times.
I think that's amazing. I don't know why are more people doing it and I just don't know about it, but I think that's incredible.
Well, we are in a
yeah, we're somewhere that's not at the forefront
not
of
technically advanced.
Yeah.
So maybe in like America, places like that,
Yeah.
they are doing it.
Yeah,
and
my
they're not
student is in
surprised by it.
China.
China always surprises us with these fantastic gizmos.
Advances that are made and accessible to the average person.
I don't have this fact here, but it's just I read about it and I thought it was super interesting. So you can actually buy, this is for brain researchers, you can buy a piece of human brain that is fused to like a computer motherboard. So you can actually buy for research.
Are you talking about the average person can buy this?
If you would like to research brain activity, yeah.
Oh no, I don't like that.
And actually it keeps the brain alive with like nutrients and
Oh no.
things like this.
Oh no.
But I don't think it is a human's brain.
Okay.
I think they've created the human brain. You know how they can make fake meat now? Fake real meat?
Fake meat and a fake human brain is like on a whole nother level.
Yeah. Well, I don't have the information here. It just came into my head, but I
you
did
recalled that.
I did, yeah, just not well. I read a little bit about it, and then I forgot it because you know me, I move on. I have no time.
Great, Jess. So that's another thing. There's the ability to be able to recall what you've learned, and then there's the ability to be able to recall it correctly. Yeah. That would even just be nice.
Yes. Okay, so would you like to know how far away we are to Matrix-style learning?
Yes.
All right. So we've got a goal. The first goal, minor skill enhancement via brain stimulation. That's happening right now. Memory prosthetics for basic facts, 10 to 15 years. They're experimenting now. Complex skill transfers, like like the Matrix,
Mhm.
languages, martial arts, 30 to 50 years.
Ah.
So AI says it's still sci-fi.
Yeah.
And then fast plug-in instant learning, there's
That's
no
the
time,
dream.
and scientific for now,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But I disagree. I think we're closer than this, but not close enough for it to affect me. I think it'll be when I'm too old to care about learning new things.
Yeah. Or you will be content with the tools that have been developed for learning.
Yeah.
Because, for example, we had a friend stay over the weekend, and she'd been hearing a lot about ChatGPT, AI this, AI that, but she had been very resistant to using it, which is how I was like a year ago or something. And so I was telling her all the ways I use it and other people I know use it, but that's no good if it doesn't impact the person directly. Like, you have to tell them how their life is going to be improved by it. So it was via language learning, and I was like, this is an incredible tool to like use as a tutor. And then so she downloaded ChatGPT, and within like 5 minutes she was amazed with it, because you can ask it to give you learning exercises and give you quizzes on the specific point that you want. And then that's it. She was like hooked.
Yeah.
She used it for the entire weekend for like a good 3-4 hours each time.
Which very much happened to you because you were very resistant at the beginning
It
as
was
well.
100% me. I within like 5 minutes of using ChatGPT, I was like, this is just phenomenal. I mean, I think it's life changing.
Yeah, for
AI
sure.
is life changing.
For better or worse, we can't get left behind.
Yeah.
Don't get left behind, guys.
No.
Take
do not.
advantage,
Do
and
not.
if you got the spare dough, go Gemini Plus, go ChatGPT Plus. I would.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, so would I actually.
please let us know. Like, was the Fast and the Furious facts interesting to you? The Matrix style learning. What are you interested in? Do you have a topic that you would like us to talk about? Keep it light-hearted. We don't want to talk about negative things anymore. There's enough of that in the world, right, Becky?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode. And from Need Knowledge No Time,
We out.
I don't like that that outro. I need to say that all again.
Okay.
That being said, Need Knowledge No Time.
We out.
I like that one better.
Okay.